Now we continue our journey across the Mediterranean with the US Army, away from the bug and mosquito lands of North Africa and Sicily, to the wartime comforts of hotels in Capri and Ischia, into World War I conditions on the front line. Gone are any of the luxuries like hot water, bathrooms and toilets, to be replaced with tents in a sun field in no man's land, with shells whistling overhead in both directions, icy winds, torrential rain and deep mud. Our only contact with civilization was over a two-rope bridge across the raging torrents of the Garigliano into a small village for a drink and a haircut, with a Gurkha unit for company and possible defence. This was to last for many weeks until the Germans were forced off the Cassino mountain and the open roads of civilization. Now, Rome in the north.
Springtime in Ischia was delightful, not too hot, and we had comfortable nights in the Hotel Albergo Lido. But as the front line moved north of Naples, our move was inevitable. An LCT took us from Ischia port across the bay, with Vesuvius still rumbling in the distance, to the mainland. In convoy we left the city and drove north, passing our headquarters at the Royal Palace at Caserta, to join with a heavy stream of military vehicles on the road towards the bottleneck at Cassino. Our radar site was in front of the front line, in no man's land, across the Garigliano River over a Bailey Bridge, into an area of small fields with tall hedges and trees that hadn't been destroyed. Across the campsite, the aerial hardly was visible. Living conditions were atrocious. Cold rain, icy winds, mud everywhere made out life in our tents very, very grim. Our radar guided in bombers to blast the German lines and the fortifications on Monte Cassino all day and all night. Our only contact with civilization was across a rope bridge over the cold raging torrent of the swollen Garigliano River. It led to a small village which had survived the battle. We went there for a rest, coffee and a drop of wine. Soldiers from a Gurkha regiment nearby shared the rope bridge with us. Every evening at dusk they walked past our tents and on to harass and terrify the German guards along the front line over by the monastery hill. At dawn they returned the same way, but with souvenirs. German ears threaded on a piece of string like a necklace were a sign of a busy night, with their knives, their kukris. After a month here, the Germans retreated from the area. Polish troops stormed the monastery to find the fortifications almost deserted, and within hours we packed up and drove past the devastated town of Cassino, with hundreds of military vehicles on the same road to Rome. We stopped for lunch to cool the engines by the roadside, where our chaps started kicking empty Coke tins around for a bit of exercise. One red tin landed near Benny and I. This caught my eye. I remembered a picture in my German mine book of an Italian hand grenade. I picked up this red can and threw it. The safety pin had come off in the football, and this grenade exploded in the air. It ended our lunch break, and we set off along the Appian Way to stop and make camp at the catacombs near to Velletri, just south of Rome. Within hours of the fall of Cassino, we packed up and drove along the Appian Way across the Pontine marshes to Velletri, near the catacombs south of Rome, to park on some rough ground below a power station. Once settled, Benny and I wandered around the site and found the entrance to the catacombs. This was dug under the hill and the power station. It had a sign in the doorway, Achtung Minen. After careful examination of the ground for tripwires and loose dirt, we went inside in the daylight. A torch was necessary to proceed further. Later we found the place was packed solid with ammunition boxes and explosives, enough to blow up the hill and the power station. I told the men to keep away, and after the incident with the red grenade near Cassino, they were very, very nervous. We checked our radar after the non-stop operation at Cassino, rigged up a shower and did lots of washing. It dried very, very quickly in the warm sunshine. Heavy traffic was going past on the main road. Next day, Benny and I decided to go along the road into Rome and do a little bit of exploring in our Bedford truck. We arrived at the Colosseum along deserted roads. The army trucks had taken the ring road and the roads to the east of the city. We parked the truck and went into the Colosseum to explore, and never met anyone at all. Next, we drove on to the famous fountains by the ruined palace, threw in some small change into the water for luck. Then we went along the road to the Vatican and St. Peter's. There we parked by the main entrance, close to the Swiss guards in their silver uniforms. As we walked past them, we said buongiorno. We went into the vast cathedral. Rome had been declared an open city. Nothing had been looted or destroyed. We marvelled at the splendour and the opulence of the place and wondered who paid for it. I wanted to go up on the roof to see the dome and to look around the city from a great height. We found some stairs which led upwards onto the vast roof. The view there was excellent, so I decided to climb up the side of the dome, further up still, to the cupola for an even better view, and left Benny to wander round the roof. It was soon time to get back to our camp. I climbed down the dome and we searched all over the place for a way off the roof. This proved very difficult. No doors had any steps leading downwards. Finally, on the north side of the roof, overlooking the Vatican gardens, we did finally find some spiral steps leading down.